What's up, everybody? I'm Phil Rogacki.
And I'm Jared Abergina.
And you're listening to Two Tree Guys Podcast. What's up, everybody? Phil Rogacki here with Two Tree Guys, bringing you another fun podcast. This is our second one today.
Wow.
And as always, we have with us, he hasn't been in the studio for a while, Mr. Jared Abro. Gina.
Oh, hey, easy. This is PG.
This is our PG version. What's up, dude?
Not much, man. I'm pretty excited. It's been a while since we've been back here, and I'm really excited to drink beer. So, it's good.
And let me just do an announcement to everybody too. Jared has been working in this industry for 30 years, 28 years,
My whole life.
Life, and I'm pleased to announce that he came full time to work with the Academy in California, in Santa Rosa, with us every day. So, guys, if you haven't been to an Academy, frickin' come to Academy 5 days a week, 6 days a week. He's here all the time. He sleeps here. He eats here. He lives in the barn next to Mr. Pickles, our cat, but he's here every day. So you guys got to come learn from Jared.
This is Phil basically saying,
Dude,
I got too much time on my hands now, and you guys got to come because, you got to keep me
But
busy.
what an amazing place to come to, though.
Man.
Oh, right. It's a Disneyland.
Gosh,
It is a tree of Disneyland. That's the best way to put it.
If we were able to accomplish what we did in 3 years with, a few hours here and a few hours here, I'm super excited to see what 2022 brings us.
And all the headaches that he brings you on a regular basis.
A lot of this comes too, me giving 40% of my time in the last 3 years to do what we've done. I mean, I'm thinking, what can we do with 100%?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like you and I were talking about earlier today. You got to put yourself out there, right? If you're going to do something, you got to go for it. And if you fail at it, but you learn from it, and you keep moving forward, right? I think it's amazing, dude.
All chips are in right now.
Yeah.
All freaking chips are in.
Yep.
And it's going to be awesome, man. So I'm excited. Glad you're here, man. Appreciate you.
Love you, man.
Appreciate you, man. Well, cool, man. Well, hey, guys, before we start every show, before we crack a nice cold beer and Jared brings us our beer sponsor, well, they're not really a sponsor. We just bought it at Bevmo or whatever it's called. And we tell them our beer sponsor because one day, but, I say that every week.
Our
But anyways,
future beer sponsor.
Our future beer sponsors. Pay the fee, man. The real AF fee. I get this from Andy Frisella. Pay the motherfucking fee because we don't get paid to do this. This is free. This is donating our time to give it to you, to hear some from the badass professionals that are out there and to hear their stories. This morning we brought a marketing expert in to give to you guys and everything like that, and that costs. So all we're asking is help us build the fan base here. Share it, tag it, whatever you got to do. Get it out there in the industry. And spread the word so we can make this #1 podcast in America. I'm going for Joe Rogan. We're going to pass him. We're going to do it. And maybe we'll have him on the show.
I love the lofty
here.
goals.
America.
We're going to have him. But who's our beer sponsor or our beer?
All right, that's what we got
purchased?
today. We got Old Kaz Brewery. So I'm going to hop in, and I'm actually going to hold my beer because I'm very excited to get something going
Old
here.
Kaz. Where's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air one?
Let's see what we got.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Wow. Fonsa.
Where's the Fresh Prince? We don't.
Can you possibly be any more selective over there?
I'm
just curious.
I'm that guy.
That's a different.
You've looked at
That's
4
next
different
time.
options now, Jared. Do you want to pick one?
So I'm gonna start. I'm start fairly easy here. Old Kaz. So I chose the Pilsner here, but I'm gonna give a little rundown of what this Old Kaz is. Its name came from Old Cazadero Road. If you guys are from the area, you know where that's at. It's a downright Jurassic Park path in the west of Sonoma County. So it's pretty rural, I guess. Everybody knows it. This road connects from 2 former logging towns in Guerneville and Cazadero, which makes it, remain semi-wild. And I guess people love this drive. It makes this kind of a, a path that people take and spend endless hours driving down this, and makes it this. I've never been there, so I don't know.
Less taken,
but yeah, it is. And man, they gave almost a mythical status.
But they do say don't drink and drive when you're going down this path.
Well, of
I'm
course.
just kidding. It doesn't.
Yeah. Well,
Say just that path?
safety third,
All
right?
paths.
Safety third.
Yeah.
Safety third.
But there's a deep sense of wonder with this, and hear the mission of the creators to live up to this, they consider to be the greatest place on earth. So I don't know. We'll see by the taste of their beer how that really is.
Dude, Sonoma County is pretty badass. If you guys haven't been to Sonoma County, when I came, I mean, just in the Bay, I didn't spend a lot of time out here. But when I came over to Sonoma County and spent a little bit, this morning I woke up and I did for Two Tree Guys, I did a little boost post. Fog, freaking like 7:38 in the morning. It was beautiful. And the fog stayed all the way till 10:30. 11 almost. Yeah. The fog was still here, and that's Sonoma. So
definitely
cheers.
Beautiful.
Listen.
I grabbed the Pilsner.
Oh, shit.
I'm excited to have you back and have my drinking partner back. So
I'm here.
This guy's been dry for 75 days. He did 75 hard.
Oh, man. I just got back from Peru, and I had my first drink in Peru. I had a Pisco Sour, Peruvian drink. And it was freaking awesome. And I was drunk after 2 and stumbling out of there. But
so like every day kind of drinking for you.
Yeah. I'm back. I got right back. I didn't even want to drink, but as soon as I had my first drink, I haven't stopped since then. So
and we appreciate you for keeping it pro over there.
Red Bull sponsorship in the future, maybe.
We always keeping it up, keeping it high, and
still working on East Coast time, so trying to keep the high energy right as my body's telling me, hey, it's night time, right?
Yeah.
So hitting the Red Bull Winter Edition pomegranate, solid choice.
That's nice. Good. That's nice. Well, you want to introduce our guests who we have here today for you guys, and we only have maybe one every other month or once a month. We have a special guest coming in here today, and we drink cold beer with him. Usually it's him and I talking or at a trade show or mini expo. So I'm excited about this episode because it's been a while since we've had one. I've had to listen to a few over and over again just so I felt comforted and,
defeat the need.
Yeah, defeat it. I've been craving it. So to have you here, and
I'm glad to be here.
You're going to be working both hands. We're
I am
excited, guys.
Just like I am when I'm on stage presenting. I'm very, very interactive. Can I interact with you? Interact with cameras, all the different feeds we got going on. I'm super stoked to be here. Something Jared and I've talked for a long time about, and just really glad to be out here.
This is the moment.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Let me let the man who knows you introduce you.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny having you out here. Since we've hung out for many years. We've been to all these different shows. Had such good times together. By the way, Travis Vickerson is our guest, and we've been talking about interacting and doing stuff together. We never have, other than meeting up at shows and kind of dilly-dallying around. So really stoked to have you out here. Glad you made the jump. It's kind of funny how you coming back, being born here in the Bay, or the Bay Area right? That was San Jose.
Yep.
And making your way back and having some fun out here with us. And taking that leap to see what we're all about and let us hear your story. I mean, you have in 15 years and ran a company and, as a contract trainer and TCIA publications and, you've done so many things. It's really
I've been lucky.
Really cool to get the opportunity to hear your story personally.
It's been a crazy journey for no doubt. It's definitely been nothing that I've done on my own by any means. I've had great mentorships, great help, great education from others, and a lot of other friends that we share that have helped me along this journey, and people like Phil. And as you put it today, we were talking, Jared and I were kind of spending some time on the property today, kind of just talking and about putting ourselves out there. And, we are no different than anybody else, right? We don't have anything special about us. Mm-hmm. We're just tree guys, right? Yeah. That took a chance to get on stage or go to a conference or whatever and share what we think we know with others.
Yeah.
And people sometimes like hearing us and people don't like hearing us, but they keep coming back, right? And we get these awesome opportunities that have taken us, for you, all over the world doing stuff, for me, all over the country doing things. And it's an amazing opportunity, but never would have thought 20 years ago when I got into tree care at 17 years old, it would lead to where it's led. Mm-hmm. Like never in my imagination when I was 17, kid, got into tree care, did I think it would lead to sitting here with you guys, right? It's just crazy. And maybe I should go back and
have you done a podcast before?
I have done some podcasts before, never like this. This is a new environment. I've done just some audio, never like any video-based stuff.
Guys, what do you think of the studio?
It's not what I expected, in a good way.
In a good way.
I was like, oh, right, we got a studio. Okay.
Uh-huh.
No, this is legit. like the whole like behind the scenes that nobody can see.
Yeah.
It looks like something out of Spielberg. It's pretty amazing. I got cameras everywhere if people can't see it, right? Got all this tech everywhere. I'm being very careful with my feet because I got a million wires underneath me, and I know of all people, I'm going to kick something, and it's going to kill this whole thing.
Yeah, we're live everywhere. We have a camera under the table. That's for certain people pay for the live, but
Well, to be fair, we have a bob.
we have a Bob.
We have a bob. And
have
if
a
you
bob.
guys don't know what a bob is, best of
Bob?
luck to you. 'Cause
Bob?
we got a bob.
BBT.
It shows. What you guys are doing for just being some tree guys,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
That's
Oh
why,
man,
that's why we need a bob.
And when we started this podcast, the one thing we said is, it was for our own entertainment. It was for Jared and I's entertainment. I'm like, if nobody else watches, I'm okay with it because we're gonna have fun doing it. And I know if we have fun, everybody else have fun on this. And bringing new segments to the podcast, I'm excited about because it's not just us that are on the show. We have Eric Palacio who gets on with guests. We have other people that have been in here, and Hans who've been interviewing people before and on the show. And now we have Michael Volkin, who's our marketing director for the Academy now and for the podcast, who's going to be putting on some marketing, some sales, some other things out to the industry and just giving back, having fun, drinking beer, talking about the things we love in our industry. Because in our industry, we're in it because we love it.
But isn't it awesome though?
Oh, gosh.
It's so much to me like, and I kind of use this analogy every now and then in tree care. It's kind of a mixture of Wild Wild West and piracy, right? Because it is
good, man. That's
right.
A good one.
We're doing the job that nobody else really wants to do to make life civilized for everybody else, right? You go back to the creation of piracy, right? Before it went to what it is or what it became, all right? It was really designed to protect merchant ships from bandits, right? Nobody wanted that job, but everyone wanted the goods. So these pirates joined these vessels to go out and do the work that nobody else wanted to do because they wanted their services. They wanted their trades and all that. Wild West, right? So I'm a huge fan of the show Yellowstone, as well as 1883, which, by the way, amazing
Go Rip!
shows. Oh,
Go Rip!
Wait,
Rip is amazing.
1883, what's that?
Whoa, you don't know about 1883 yet?
Now, Yellowstone, I'm starting it. Right now, I'm
Oh,
watching
my God.
Oh, you don't even know.
1883.
Might
You
be
can't-
even better than Yellowstone, I think. It has
Did it
potential.
just come out?
So
You got to Google it, man.
it's
You
amazing.
gotta
Tim
get in
McGraw,
there.
Faith Hill as actors.
Oh, that just came
and
out.
actresses. Yeah,
Yes.
it's phenomenal.
Okay.
Break
it's,
off.
It's essentially
It's
the
extension,
early,
yeah.
the early Duttons, right?
But
How
it's
the
awesome.
Duttons became.
It's freaking awesome.
Amazing.
And Tim McGraw is good. He's a good actor.
And you watch it, right? And so anybody who knows the show, because like
We started a podcast talking about Yellowstone.
it's amazing,
Like,
though,
I
right?
signed up for trees.
No.
Oh, this
Anybody who
sucks.
hasn't watched it should watch it, right? Because it really gives Taylor Sheridan's the executive producer, I guess, for it, right? And he's a cowboy. That
How do you even know that?
because I Google things, right? So anyway,
So this goes to what we're going to be talking about here,
Yeah,
guys.
I
Listen,
promise. It
there's a
loops back
reason
around.
why
It
this
comes
guy
around.
is on every single board. This guy researches. He learns the things that nobody else wants to dive in. And
I do. I
and
spend
dive-
more time probably on
Oh,
Google
man.
looking up things than anything else, right?
Okay,
So I can
that's
just
good.
regurgitate
Good
things
to
that sound
know.
smart.
Yeah.
So Taylor Sheridan, like his whole vision for Yellowstone in 1883 was to make it authentic. So you watch how the West was settled on these wagon trains and all that, and it just shows me that that's what we do, right? We're one of the last industries out there that is still unregulated by OSHA. Realistically, yeah, we fall under the General Duty Clause. And that's great, and we fall under 1910, 269 when it gets into electrical hazards and those kind of things, right? But general residential commercial tree care really isn't governed by a large body yet. It'll come at some point. So even our gear, as crazy as it may sound, and we're not condoning this by any means, but you could make your gear almost. And it's crazy to think people are doing it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? That's why the Academy exists, is to prevent that, because we know we lose an arborist every 2.5 days. So every 2.5 days, somebody dies in our industry
Yeah.
because we're unregulated and we're untrained. But that's what the West was, right? It was settled by people who had no idea what they were doing, and they figured it out. And that's what I love about our industry. We figured it out. So when I was 17 years old, back up. So born in California, right?
Yeah.
Born in the Bay Area,
San Jose.
San Jose. I do not call that
San
home
Ho.
because I moved at a very young age. So
I wouldn't call that home either.
Morgan Hill. So I was born in Morgan Hill, technically.
shit.
You call
You're
you call
one of those
Antioch-
boys.
You call Antioch
You-
home?
Yeah. Boy,
My dad worked
He's
for
like, I wouldn't
IBM,
call
you
right?
better not say that to the world
I
ever
wouldn't-
again.
He's ripping on you like I wouldn't call San Jose home.
I
And
don't
I'm like,
disagree with him, though.
You're from Antioch. Antioch. And you moved to Brentwood, and now you're like, oh, Brentwood.
So growing up, kid in San Jose, I didn't know trees. I knew concrete because that's what California for the most part is, right? Outside of here, up here it's gorgeous. By the way, absolutely gorgeous. So we moved from California to Raleigh, North Carolina. My dad worked for IBM. They said, hey, you got to move you across country because anybody who has ever worked for IBM knows that what it stands for is IB moving.
It's intermittent bowel movement.
Could be, possibly, at times.
That's you.
So we moved to North Carolina. I'm a 17-year-old kid in high school. We have this ice storm comes through, right? Shuts everything down because in the South and in North Carolina especially, if it threatens snow, everything shuts down, right? That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Because they have no snow trucks. They have no salt. Nothing.
Right? Yeah. So things are shut down, and trees are down everywhere. It just looks like, the end of the world with trees broken. We had it was like an inch of ice. It was a crazy ice storm coming through. And this storm chaser's on my dad's street doing tree work, right? And I'm kind of out there, and I'm like, what's going on? Talking to this guy. And he's like, hey, you want to make some money? And I'm like, yeah, I want to make some money. What 17-year-old kid doesn't want to make money? All right, so I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, just drag some brush.
Mine.
New generation. That's a different podcast.
Oh, man.
All right.
What kind of guy? There was a guy that pulled up in a van and asked you if you want to make some money.
It was a red pickup truck. Beaten pickup truck, which we've all seen in this industry, by the way. Right?
Hey, do you want some candy and make some money? Come on in. You're like, what? 17-year-old doesn't go in a van to make some money.
Big chainsaws. Come help me. So he's like, hey, yeah, I'm like to this. So no chippers, right? He's just a red beat up pickup truck, right? Mm-hmm. And because it's a state of emergency, you just got to pile the brush of the road. So I did this for like 2 days. And he's like, hey, man, can you climb a tree? I'm like, yeah, climb a tree? Yeah, sure. No idea what I'm doing, right? He gives me a set of Klein spikes and a double D Weaver saddle, right? And a 3-strand lanyard with a piece of 3-strand rope, like a 4-foot rope tied to a McCulloch chainsaw.
That boy,
right?
Get up there.
Dear Jesus, protect this little boy. Protect him in the tree.
And he's like, all right, this is what you're going to do. I want you to bear hug the tree and spike it until I tell you to stop, and then put this lanyard and snap it onto the other side and fire up the chainsaw and just cut whatever I tell you to cut.
Wait, why wasn't he doing this?
Because he had other work to do. So now we're both going to climb.
But he was going to coach you?
Yeah.
But he had other work to do.
From the other tree.
Oh, from the other tree. Okay. So
I'm
he's
sure
up a tree.
This is how you teach, right? The academy? Okay. No, of course not, folks. Of course not. So anyway, I'm like, all right, I could do this. Yeah, sure, yeah. So I'll go about doing it. Yeah, and I enjoy it. I like it, right? Yeah. I did this for about 3 days, and in the week comes, and I'm like, hey, you owe me some money, right? Like, you owe me some cash. And he's like, yeah. I'll get it to you. So he leaves all of his chainsaws and ropes in my dad's garage that night because we're working on my parents' street. And he's like, oh, well, I don't want to leave it in the truck because I'm staying at this Best Western, over on Glenwood Avenue, and it's like shady part of town, so I don't want to leave my stuff in the truck. I'm like, that's fine, whatever. So he leaves stuff there, and I'm like, well, I want to get paid. I'm a 17-year-old punk kid, so I drive to the Best Western, knock on his door. Hey, man, I want my money.
Yeah.
He's hammered out of his mind, right? There's drugs everywhere inside the hotel room. And I know enough to get out of there at this point, right? Yeah. I'm like, this is not a good place for Travis. So I go back home, tell my dad all about it.
How'd you know where he was staying?
Well, it was easy. I just drove to the Best Western on Glenwood Avenue
and found the red
Raleigh and found the red pickup truck.
And you started knocking on some doors.
No, I just watched him walk around outside. Watch him. That's stupid. Yeah. Well, I am stupid because I went to a Best Western at 17. But so the next morning, he shows up at my parents' house to get his stuff. And my dad was like, hey, you owe my son some money. My dad's a big man. My dad actually went to San Jose State, held the California deadlift record for a number of years in college. He's a monster of a man.
That's a big man.
Yeah, makes me look just itty-bitty. And this guy's like, well, yeah, I'm going to pay him. He goes, well, I'm going to keep your gear until you pay him. And the guy's like, well, I'll call the cops. My dad's like, call the cops. Once the cops got mentioned, this guy splits. Find out he's got warrants for his arrest in multiple states. Like, he's just a storm chaser. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Just racks up cash and leaves. So we get all this gear sent in my dad's garage. He knows I really don't want to go to college. It's not really going to be my thing. I wanted to go into the military, but I had a back injury playing football in high school, and that was going to kick me out of going into airborne school. You can't go to special forces unless you're airborne qualified. So I knew that wasn't going to work out. And I was like, well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do tree work. My dad had owned a concrete company when he was working for IBM at the same time, so he understood how to run a company. But nobody's going to hire a 17-year-old kid to cut trees, right? So my dad sells the work, and I do the work. Well, I graduate high school, and college isn't my thing, but I'm not making enough money to really make ends meet, so I became a fireman.
So in the meantime here, I'm sorry to
keep going. It's good.
I'm just thinking about this. You had 1 day, and then you're like...
3 days experience. Was it 3 days?
Yeah.
3 days.
And then we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then that 3 days of experience was enough for you to be like, okay, I got enough.
Yeah,
I can go cut some shit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to...
How hard is it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
That's amazing.
Yeah. There's a video I have of me somewhere.
This is not inspirational for you guys watching.
No.
I don't want.
We're gonna
people
bring
to
this full
think
circle.
that,
Don't worry.
this is
But
great.
the funny thing is, I'm not even shocked by this because every story of every person that comes in here was somebody that handed up a chainsaw and said, "You like to make money?"
Yeah.
And that's how they're like, welcome to
And
the
you know
tree
why
care
that
industry.
is? Is because when you go to a high school and you talk about professions and you say arboriculture, nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows our industry actually even exists.
Right.
Unless you're in the industry.
True. Very true.
So we don't have kids coming out of high schools going, "Oh, I want to be an arborist." What's an arborist? Right? So anyway, fast forward a little bit, became a career fireman with the City of Durham, North Carolina Fire Department. Was doing that, learned a lot of rope rigging from being a fireman, which I applied in tree care, right? So they started kind of complementing each other.
Oh, so you were doing both at the same time?
Yeah, doing both same time. So I was a career fireman for 15 years. And about 10, 12 years into my company, I realized, maybe I don't want to be a tree guy, right? Maybe I want to sell my company off and go back to school, go become a nurse, make more money. Went to nursing school. Nursing school wasn't for me. It did not fit, right? I was not a good nurse. I did not like it. Wasn't enjoyable.
Because you had an EMT background, right?
Yeah, being a fireman, you had an EMT background, right? And realized that I was really good in pre-hospital care, but not really good in hospital care. So I was like, well, crap. I got to make some money. I got the skill and knowledge of a tree guy, so I went back to work for another tree company. So now again, I don't know a lot about tree work at this point still, okay? Yeah, I had read some books my dad had bought me, had gone to watch some classes here and there, but I hadn't really had structured education.
Your dad have any tree care knowledge, or
None.
he just okay?
Zero.
So he's learning with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right.
Yeah.
And we were learning as we went. Like we had a dump trailer and like the standard operation for most people when they get into tree care, right?
Yeah.
Like you only know what you've almost died doing and
Yeah.
you learn from. All right. So try to get in this company, and I find this company on Craigslist. Actually, it's hiring, and the guy's
$200?
no, legit company, legit company. And he's like, well, if I'm going to hire you as a climber, you got to climb for me. But we don't spike trees if we're pruning. And I was like, at this point, again, I only knew how to climb one way, and that was spiking trees. Like, had my pruning spikes and my removal spikes, and they were the same spikes. Right?
My pruning spikes and my removal spikes, and they were the same spikes.
All right. So I'm I'm Googling. Now, remember, I'm the Google guy. So I'm like Googling how to climb rope. So I show up to this guy's shop to climb, right? And I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And I tie a climb heist, on a Prussic loop. And I'm doing this like inchworm sit stand thing, trying to climb rope to show this guy can work for him, right? And he hires me at like a stupid low rate. And then he's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to send you some TCIA classes. And I went to my first TCIA class and started learning.
Where was that at?
It was in Durham, North Carolina. Actually, Cormac Nagin taught it.
Okay.
What was the company you worked for?
Snell Tree Experts out of Fuquay Varina.
Are they still here?
Yeah, they're still in business. Yep, Tim Snell, great guy, great business out there.
Do you know this Picate El Fondio guy on here?
I do not.
Somebody's like, tap me in.
Somebody wants to talk.
I don't know him.
Oh, man.
But maybe he has a similar story to me. I don't know. Who knows, right? So I go to this, and it was an SRS class Cormac was teaching. Now, again, I didn't know anything, right? So I'm like, yeah. Get the gear, self-taught, learn SRS, start taking some more classes. Then I find out TCI is hiring for a regional position. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So I go work for TCI for about a year. And I learn everything I can learn, read every book I can read, and all this. And at the same time, I'm
all their information.
Everything.
Or just every book that you know.
Everything I get my hands on. Every book I get my hands on, every video I can watch, just all
now,
just
let me ask you,
self-taught.
what was pushing you to do that? Because there's people in our industry that haven't read one book from TCI. What was driving you to learn?
Because I have a problem with addiction.
Okay.
And it comes to the fact that if I'm going to do anything, I have to go 1,000 times over the limit of what normal is. So like bass fishing, I must have, and my wife can attest to this, I must have 500 different colors of worms in my worm speed bag, and then I have a lizard speed bag, and then I have a frog bag. I go over the top on everything. I don't know moderation at all, which is not a good feature, right? So I'm just digesting.
Do you think it's 15 Red Bulls a day? I don't know. Just curious.
Pomegranate.
I don't know.
Do we need to talk about this morning,
I'll
really?
just-
And the story there? I didn't think so. All right.
Yeah.
Your label says it'll kill you. Mine doesn't.
Hey, friends help friends.
Cheers.
This is actually an intervention. This is not a podcast.
I'm actually way off Red
I'm
Bull than I
glad
used to
that
be.
22 of your friends are online right now. They'd like to talk to you
So
about this.
bad. It's so bad.
Okay, when I was
Okay.
a fireman, I was drinking way more Red Bull than I am now.
Oh my god.
Way more. So anyway, let's keep on track here, right? Because I got to bring this back full story, all right?
feel bad.
Because this is going somewhere. So I'm taking all these classes, getting all this information I can get. And I started developing this desire to teach others. And I'm like, I can do this. I can teach this stuff. So what's the best way to learn something? Teach it. So I started teaching. I started doing stuff for TCIA. And find out that, believe it or not, people actually like listening to me. And they take my classes and they give me high survey results and all that. So I start teaching more and more. Then I realize, wait, I can make a living being a fireman still and teaching tree care. I don't have to do it. I can still do it as a contract climber, but I can teach it. So now I get the opportunity to go all over the country for TCIA teaching things. And I start speaking at ISA conferences and TCIA conferences and workshops and all this stuff. And then TCIA is like...
how long have you been in the industry at this point?
So about 13 years at this point. 13, 14 years.
Now, with knowledge, somewhat knowledge.
3 years.
Okay.
Oh,
3
shit.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Three
Only
years.
3 years.
3
yeah.
years.
But 10 years before that, you were doing side jobs. You were working here.
Yeah.
But you had no idea.
But what I did learn
and your removal spikes
is all the stuff of what not to do.
good.
And I hear it all the time is, oh, well, I can't change. I've always done it this way. That's a cop-out.
Yeah.
If this guy who, again, now, I'm going to take my headset off for just a second because I want to explain something. All right? Everybody ever seen the movie it's a classic 80s movie, Stallone, Over the Top.
Oh, gosh. Ooh, my heart.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I would
It's
get
the
on
hat.
tree work, right? Exactly. Turned around backwards.
So let me go back. Let me ask.
Got it.
I'm a machine, right?
Yeah.
You got hired at the TCIA
Yes.
with zero experience.
Zero.
Do they know
Other-
that? Because
yes.
you just called it out.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
Totally
good.
fine. All right. Zero experience, right? Because the position wasn't a training position.
And I became your friend then? I am so embarrassed.
That was a few years later. No, they hired me. It was a membership services. It was trying to get people to become members. But
Gotcha.
I utilized it as an opportunity to learn and train.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this year of working for TCIA, I started doing all this stuff, right? Well, at the same time, I'm still a fireman, 15-year fireman. Had the opportunity to go to FEMA crane school to be a rigger for cranes and an operator for cranes. Had a chance for the last 7 years to fly with the Army and the National Guard as a helicopter rescue technician. So doing some real high-level training stuff. And again, that high-level mentality, perfectionism mentality plays into this. And start working with TCIA and start working on a crane manual, the BMP. So the very first manual I helped write for TCIA was the BMP for cranes. Using my FEMA knowledge from a crane rigging standpoint and operator knowledge.
Yeah.
And applying it in tree care. And that was the first one. It's like, all right, I could do this. I kind of like this, right? And then it kind of evolved from there. So then I left TCIA and just started training, right? A few years go by and I'm training at Arbor Fest with you and other places around the country and just not like I'm taking the knowledge that I've processed and finding ways to deliver it to others. It's nothing I haven't created any of this stuff. This is nothing that's Travis's creation by any means.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of really smart people in this industry, and I have found a way to digest all their information and be able to deliver it in a way that people like.
Yeah.
And it works, right? So now I've progressed. So I went from 20 years ago climbing on a Klein spikes in a W Weaver's arm, which I still have, by the way. Keep it around just to remind myself.
Is that from the guy in the red truck?
It is.
Yeah.
What if he
And-
pops on here and comes
on.
and finds you and kicks
Come
your
on.
ass?
Come on.
That's,
Come on.
Still
hey,
looking
that's
for you.
Picate.
That's Picotti. He's like, get my ass on
Come on.
here.
Come on.
That was
My
me.
spikes.
Absolutely, right? So I get all this stuff, right? And now
He's calling to apologize for all the years.
you can pay me my money, Venmo me or PayPal, either way.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
now I look at
He's like, give me my spikes.
and now I sit back and look at it. I'm like, now I work for Davey Tree Care, right? 20 years later, climbing on advanced systems, writing books like the Crane book, the new Rigging BMP helped come out. Just wrote that for TCIA. I wrote a leadership book for Leadership for Today for our industry. And there's all
What
this
book's
stuff.
that?
It's called Leadership for Today by me. Look it up on Amazon. All right.
Really?
Yeah. No lie.
I'm going to buy that.
And here's what it is, okay? And I'm probably kind of selling myself out at this point, but
This is
what
great.
it is,
This
I
is good stuff. Yeah.
collected all of these quotes from history and other books I've read. And then the book is these quotes. And it's a paragraph with each quote about how this applies every single day to leadership.
What's it called?
No Excuse I'm sorry, no, that's a different book. That's the other book I told you about. Leadership for Today by Travis Vickerson. It's got a pirate flag on the cover. Hint, hint. All right.
Arr.
It's on Amazon. I think it's like $3.50 or something.
Leadership
like that.
Yeah.
for today.
Maybe got taken
I
down
got
because
it. I see it.
nobody bought it. I got a free
Leadership
copy.
for today. Leadership for those.
Did you find it? Oh, there it is.
There it
It's got a part.
It's on Amazon?
I like it.
Yeah. And that was the thing of like, I couldn't find a good book that people could read. There's no page numbers, right? There is no flow to the book. You could open up any page on any day and read it. And it was the thought process was for crew
that.
leaders or foremen on job sites, so they could just have something every day to digest about leadership.
Dude, this is great, man.
And it just shows you.
Where have you been? How come you don't tell me these things?
You don't call.
Oh, you don't. That's what she said. You don't call.
Yeah.
You don't call.
I'm gonna
Man.
buy your. I'm gonna get your butt.
You're stupid.
Let me finish my story. You
Oh
keep
my
derailing me.
gosh.
All right.
Oh,
So
man.
3 years ago, I got a call from Mundy Wilson Piper, who was, at the time, she was getting ready to become the president of TCI's board. She owned a company up in New Hampshire called Chippers. All right. And she was like, hey, I'm looking for a vice president of operations to come oversee our operations up here. Do you know anybody in the industry? And I was like, I'll look around. A few days I thought about it, and I sent her a message. I was like, hey, tell me more information about it. She's like, well, would you be interested? And I was like, maybe. Come to find out, it was a good opportunity for me. Took early leave from the fire department, left the fire department after 15 years, and full sailed, like you said, went all in, right? Went all into tree care. Moved to New Hampshire and went into operations overseeing tree care. 3 years later, the company is bought by Davey as an acquisition. Now I work for Davey. Okay. And starting this year, I now work for Davey Resource Group.
Okay.
All right. As a safety leader. So taking all this knowledge of 20 years of doing things the wrong way, learning how to do things the right way, to go and work with other people to help them evolve. Because that's really what this is about. It's evolution.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and really what we want to talk about and what I want to focus on and my huge passion is this idea of safety.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned over 20 years of doing this thing the wrong way. All right. Because remember, the first 10 years were, again, there's a video, no shirt, hat on backwards, blowing a 40-foot top of a pine out to a backyard, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the man. Yeah. Completely doing it the wrong way.
What is the guy in the red truck's name?
I couldn't tell you if I had to.
Okay.
Could not remember it. Don't care to remember it. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Well,
but every one of us,
to me.
But here's the key. Every one of us started out the same way I did.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Even Jared, who was born into tree care, did not come out of the womb. Well, maybe he did with a throw line in his hand. I don't know. But most of us,
he pulled himself out.
Most of us started with zero knowledge, and somebody took time to invest in us to get better.
Yep.
I was invested in, and I invest in others. And we have, and that's what you guys do. And what I love so much about what you do, Jared, and what the Academy does, Phil, and what you guys are working on here is it's investing, right? So this position in Davey that I have now is the opportunity to invest externally in other companies, utility companies, small to medium-sized residential companies. Anybody that needs safety, I want to be there for. I want to help them evolve. I want to help them grow and change this concept that safety is an objective. Safety is never an objective. It's an outcome. 100%. I got lucky for the first 10 years of my career that I'm not one of the statistics. Absolutely. Had a lot of near misses, had some very, very, very close calls that ended up, probably could have ended up in a hospital. Maybe should have. I don't know. And it's part of that. It's part of that growth experience, right? And it's that growth mindset that we got to come to. So it's been a hell of a journey. Absolutely. I am so stoked to be a part of Davey Tree Care. It's an amazing company. I'm so stoked to be working with people like you guys and out in the industry and getting to do all this stuff now. And it's just phenomenal.
So what?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Because
Can you thumb war for it?
Yeah.
So, you know,
go ahead.
So when I think about you, man, in taking that leap and jumping in with Davey, I'm like, what a great direction. What a great opportunity for you. I mean, for a company like Davey that is so diverse and it's, you know, so many directions, to be able to get people like you in there to spread, you know, your word and your passion. It's just great. It's great for the industry because then you get to reach the masses.
Yeah.
You know, you can really touch an industry and truly make a difference. You know, so what you're doing, not only in the industry, but doing it for a company like Davey, that's contagious. It spreads, you know, and for us as a company or as an academy or what we're doing here on the podcast is along the same trend, the same path, right? Yeah. How do we reach the masses in all these realms? There's so many of them. Yeah, and I'm not going to say safety, but I'm going to say, you know, across the board, how do we elevate this industry? And this is how you do it. You know, you put really key players in really key positions, and you took that, and you're doing it, man. And I'm stoked to see you with that brand on there because, you know, every company needs it, but for a company of that size and that nature, gosh, man, they need really good people like you. So,
and that's the great thing about Davey is Davey does so much so well, right? And Davey does such great job at safety internally, and they're like, hey, what if we can do the same thing externally? And that's really my focus. It's not internally focused in Davey, right? We've got people for that. We've got safety departments, and we've got training departments, and we've got all this stuff. It's how can we go make the industry better? How can we go make other companies even better, right? And it's kind of a crazy thought process. Like, wait a second, you want to help your competition? Absolutely, 100% want to help my competition.
Where'd this come from?
What part come from?
What you just said.
Helping my competition.
Helping the competition, helping the industry, giving back to the industry. Who sparked this conversation?
So it's been many people that sparked the conversation. Jack McCabe is the guy that really stands out in my mind for who's kind of sought me out in this whole thing, and Amy Murray and just that whole group from Davey Resource Group that's kind of said, hey, you know what? We have an opportunity here. It's an opportunity. Yeah, Davey's a business. Obviously, this is a business venture. Okay, let's not lie about it, right? But this is also an opportunity to say, hey, we got a great guy here. We don't know really how to use him, but let's find somewhere in safety to use them. So we're going to figure that out, right? We're figuring that as we go. And really, that's my whole thing is I'm available to help anybody, any company in safety and figuring out how to create those cultures of safety. Because if you think of it this way, and this is kind of the crazy part, most tree care operations run 6-day operations, right? Especially in utility line clearance, right? If we're having a death every 2.5 days, that means on Monday, we're good. On Tuesday, we're good. Wednesday at lunch, we kill somebody. Thursday, we're good. Friday, we're good. Saturday at lunch, we kill somebody. So if we're a 3-person crew, by Sunday, our day off, 2 of us are dead.
Yeah. True story.
And that's what we got to start changing. We got to get away from that. And we're not getting any better, right?
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Ball is a very good friend of mine. Does a lot of the stuff with the ocean numbers and all that, and he'll tell you, over the last 30 years, the numbers are still consistent. And it's because we are still trying to make safety an objective, and it can't be an objective. It can only be an outcome.
So I think this is you're going to run on this one.
I know where you're going.
I'm gonna
I know where you're
back,
going.
But, keep going. Disregard me. I know.
He's like a child.
Everybody knows.
It's amazing.
Don't stop for me. But this is
this is embarrassing.
While he does
This
that,
is
I'm
embarrassing.
gonna shed a layer because these bright studio lights are melting me. Hold on one second.
No, we're gonna keep going with or without you. Oh my gosh. This is the part of the show everybody's been waiting for.
Is there a tip option?
He had this plan.
So no, it's been an amazing adventure. It's been an amazing journey. I could not have done it alone. I've had an amazing support system. My family has been amazing support for this. Couldn't do it without the love of my wife and support of my wife in this, and just seeing me through all this stuff, and the industry and mentors like Tim Walsh and mentors like John Ball that have helped me along the way. It's been phenomenal. So
let me go back a little bit again, back to where Davey decided they have you. You're working there. What do we do with this guy? This guy's talented. He's an addict for knowledge and fishing. And how do we utilize him? And just came up with something of going, let's get back to the industry.
We're still working on it. We're still working on what that's going to look like.
Okay.
But right now, it's pretty loose in the fact of, hey, if you have a safety need and you've got something that you want to look at from a safety standpoint, let us know. We'll see what we can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it could be as simple as just looking at data for you, or it could be as simple as looking at employee health service plans or EHS plans, and kind of looking at all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's something as far as like, hey, training, or hey, we're looking at doing this or that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, we want to be there to help you.
Gotcha.
And solve this problem.
Gotcha.
Because we have to make a change at some point in our industry. And to your point about why would you want to help your competitors out? When the ocean rises, all the ships rise with it, right?
Well, I didn't say why would you want to help your competitors out. I'm all for it because that's what we do. That we give back to helping the competitors.
And I know, having been part of the red pickup truck guy crew, right? Companies that are doing it the right way, that are doing training, that are paying the insurances, are doing all that, can't keep up with the people out there who are not doing it the right way.
Yep.
They get undercut every day. And that's not fair for all of us. So we've got to start elevating the industry. We got to start elevating the standard.
Exactly.
And that's really what it's about for me is let's.
What a great slogan you got there.
I saw that somewhere.
Elevate the standard.
It's sexy. It's good.
So I see you come here, wants to know where you can buy my book. You can buy it from Amazon. Evidently, Jared found it. Good luck on that. You may have to scroll through a few pages, but
no, I pop right up. First one. You're that famous. Yeah.
So
when is the cheapest book online for $2.99? It's the first one that pops. It's Amazon's choice.
So, it's
Amazon's choice.
Do you want to hear a really funny story about my book? So I wrote this book, right? Self-published. Okay, so don't hold it against me. I wrote it and I published it myself.
Dude, congratulations,
right?
man.
That doesn't mean anything, okay? Because there's like misspellings in the book and like grammatical
Leadership
errors.
for today.
Yeah.
It's not popping up for me.
Well, it pops up for Jared. Maybe you got like ad blocker on or something over there.
No.
So I bought this book, right? And you have to buy them in bulk. So I buy this thing out, right? And I get all these copies in, and I mail them off to people. I mail one to The Rock. I mail one to like Kevin Hart and Will Smith and Arnold Schwarzenegger. All these people, like famous people. I'm like, hey, read my book, whatever. Because I figured if I can just get one famous person to read it and post about it, this thing goes crazy, right?
Right, it goes viral.
All of them came back to be returned to sender. All of them. I was like, that sucks.
But you did it, dude.
You know
Yeah,
what's so super disappointing about this? That I wasn't on the list.
I'm pretty sure I actually gave you a book 3 years ago.
Hard no.
Oh.
Hard no.
Pretty confident I did.
What does the comment say on there?
I wouldn't know. I'd be like, my boy wrote this.
Let's
I might read it.
Don't read the comments if they're bad.
What do the comments say?
Comment says, no matter the color of your shirt, the content in this book applies to all of us. I will also go as far to say that this will be the book that is kept on the desk for reference. Thank you for sharing the stories and the insight.
You didn't know that.
Very cool.
I wrote that. I did not write that. I don't know who wrote that. That's awesome.
Here's another awesome. Amazon customer. There's no. He just said, hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi to you as well.
Hi. He's like, oh shit, this works.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of really great help along the way. By no means is this something I've done on my own, right?
Yeah.
Treestuff.com. Nick Bonner I've been doing stuff with him for a long time.
Awesome, dude.
The new course that you can rent from treestuff.com, which is the ground operator course, really. Mm-hmm. It's a course that people can buy. It's a rental, and it teaches new workers day one, like what you should wear to work, what lunch you should bring to work, like, hey, what a rake looks like, what a pole saw looks like. And so you have foundational knowledge before somebody shows up for the first day. And really, I'm just seems to be the goat for everybody to use.
This is perfect. So what's the goat?
He's like, I'm the goat.
He chose
everybody
the fucking goat.
uses.
It's because you guys got goats outside.
I probably would have said I'll be the donkey that everybody uses.
He's like, I'm the goat.
One day I might be a goat.
You got goats outside. It's stuck. I'm sorry. Go with it.
That was a little much.
You knew exactly.
No, there will be a goat. It will not be this guy.
Oh my gosh.
So the bigger question is, now that you wrote this one book and you're on a path, what's the next phase? What's going on? What's new? What's stirring? What's the next Travis Vickerson? Is it a book? Is it a video? Is it a podcast? Is it a...
Don't know yet. Haven't decided. The book was a dare. Actually, it was a dare that was made at a bar at, I think, at like a TCI Expo one time. I was hanging out with some
you're
guys.
Stupid, like, Travis. You won't write a book.
Pretty much, because I was talking about how there's no good books on leadership for our industry. They're like, well, then you should write one. And I'm like, I will. And I did. And again, it's just quotes from other people that I'm quoting.
I'll write one.
You're like, fuck off, Mark Chisholm. I will.
Copy paste.
Might have been Mark.
Was it Mark?
It might have been. I don't know. It could have been Mark. Who knows?
I could see Mark.
But yeah, so it was just, it's an opportunity, right?
Write one.
What will be next, Jared?
If you're so smart,
I have no idea, man. I have no idea.
Well, I'm just what's you got to have a goal. 2022 hit.
What's in your vision? What's your vision?
So there's something here.
Before I was off social media, so I used to be on social media. Got off all social media. Okay, don't need it in my life. It's not good for me. Don't need it. I can still affect the industry without it. But one of my goals was to teach until no more died. That was kind of my goal, right? And I had a Keith Stoner from True Work at the time. He came up with this really great logo for the back of my shirt, and it's Blackbeard's flag. Right.
Okay.
So Blackbeard comes from North Carolina. I love pirate stuff. Right.
Throw your hands up.
Yep. And he was like, hey, use the slogan, teach to no more die, because Blackbeard's real name was Edward Teach. So it's kind of like a double play on words type thing. And the whole thought process was because, again, we've lost somebody every 2.5 years. I lost a friend. Brad Roberts died. He was a Durham fireman, off-duty working, doing tree work, fell and died. Right. Came to the academy with me. He's a good friend of mine as well. And just just affects everybody and affects our lives. And we don't even realize it, that every day when somebody dies, every 2.5 days when we lose somebody, we're losing brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, daughters, sons. And it leaves a hole in people's lives. So my thought was, okay, I got this lofty goal of teaching people until no more die. So is that ever going to happen? I don't know. I'd love to think we're going to have a year where we have no fatalities in our industry. Is it realistic? Probably not.
Yeah, I love that.
But I'd love to see it happen.
It's awesome.
And when it does, I will have a boat.
It's a 10x rule.
And
it's
just
a
fish
10x
all day.
rule.
Dude, what a great vision.
Yeah, we'll see. Got to have a goal. And I believe in big hairy goals, right? BHAGs, right? Those big hairy audacious goals that sit out there that are unachievable.
This guy.
right?
Not so bad.
Yeah, not so bad.
Not so
Not so
bad.
bad.
Not so bad.
So yeah,
You're wrong about him. You're wrong about him. For the show,
so
he's
many
like,
ways.
oh gosh, this guy's coming in. Oh my
I'm
god.
like, fuck, Travis again.
What are we gonna do?
no, it's like I said.
He's
been
like, I'm an
fantastic.
author, firefighter. I've saved babies.
America.
Killed America.
I'm like, I just
like-
I just climbed trees.
No, where did
I am-
I come from?
Nothing
I know.
special, man. I'm
Thanks,
nothing
man.
special.
You make me feel like shit.
I've been very fortunate to be blessed with lots of great opportunities that I've been able to do. Really.
yeah.
That's a good one, man. To bring that up, we're out there setting lines today. I had
Let's not talk about that.
had a good day throwing throw lines with Travis, setting rings and.
You have one of those days with
Good.
throw line, all right? And everybody's had one of these days.
Oh, that's okay,
right?
man. I'm used
Where
to it.
you throw the first 3 times, and after the first 3 throws, you realize it's not your day. Right?
Yeah.
So Jared's over there, and he's just like,
Oh gosh.
bop,
Oh
bop,
gosh. Don't
bop.
even.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, well, I throw the same unions every week, so like it's easy for me. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Jared. And I ended up, and this is, I think, is a goal. I think this should be a record somewhere. I double bagged 4 times in the same union to get the tie-in I needed.
Yeah.
4 double bags. Has it ever been done before? I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't know. I set 5 lines with friction savers by the time he did that.
That's
so
a true story. True story. But Jared and I also have history with throw line.
Who double bagged you?
No, I double bagged myself.
Oh, you double bagged yourself.
Thank you.
That's a talent.
That's even
That's
you
a
know.
talent.
Well, if you've
I
seen it,
prac-
if you've seen it,
I
you would
trained
know.
my whole life for that.
He was amazed. He watched it. He was amazed.
He's like, you double bagged yourself. That's awesome.
And we had this just horrible history of throw line between us because the very first Arbor Fest in North Carolina, all right, we're
I
at
think
together.
I've heard this story.
Right? I tell the story everywhere.
No,
right?
tell-
'Cause it's so just, ugh. And I'm sitting there throwing and trying to get this tie-in set. And I think it was for like AR. Was it with A? It was we're doing something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Jared's just like, hey, you want me to hit that for you? And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. He grabs the bag out of my hands, turns around backwards, throws it, no look, hits it perfect, and just walks away. And from that day forward, I hated Jared. And it was just like this, like, and the
It's
crowd,
kind of a-
and the crowd's watching this, right?
Yeah.
So now I've just been reduced to nothing. And I'm
They're
like,
like,
all right, I'm gonna go get water bottles if anyone.
who wants water?
Yeah.
Water boy.
It was horrible.
I tried to be like
Really good.
undercover with it and not be
There was
like,
no recovery from that.
I just tried to like hit it and like walk away so like nobody's seen it, but it turned into the opposite. Like,
Okay,
Oh,
like nobody will see it.
fuck.
He walks
he's-
up front in the middle of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like nobody will see it.
He's known for drawing the crowd's attention to him during Arborfest.
Oh yes, yes.
The
he is.
time somebody was teaching it, he's like, "Oh, I'll go from one tree to the other." What?
There,
No one
there was
paid
also a time where a
attention
tree
to
went the
me.
completely wrong direction on him, but we won't talk about that one.
Oh yeah, no, I was there. That was
I know.
my first
Ryan
Arborfest. I
loved
was
that
there.
one.
I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit!"
there's so much fun. These industry events, man, they create these brotherhoods that we
They do.
have, man. I got so many, such close friends, and you do too.
Yeah.
That start from these events. We have an amazing industry. You don't see this in steel industries or maybe carpentry, but not so much. The construction industry, they all hate each other. We're very blessed to have a very cool network of people.
Should we share a secret with all the audience about these events?
Not that one.
So, like everything in tree care, some days things just don't go right?
Yeah.
And the hardest part about being an instructor is you're up there doing something and you got everybody watching you, and something's going to go wrong. It's just going to happen. And figuring out the way to make it a teachable moment and roll with it is extremely difficult because and the worst part about it isn't the fact that you screwed up or something went wrong. It's that when you look out in the audience and you see all your instructor friends, you're just like, oh, I'm going to hear about this forever. Like, this is never going to end. And it's true. And so you're up there, you're like, and that went completely wrong, but what did we learn from it? Yeah. And then after it's over, they'll come up, they're like, ha, loser.
Yeah.
But you have this brothership and this bond because
Yeah.
you know that even though that Jared's out there watching me or I'm out watching Jared, that we might pick on each other and all that, but we got each other's backs. Like, nobody's going to trash Jared to me. Jared's not going to let me trash me. Like, it's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And we just had this bond. And for anybody who wants to get into education, do it. Take the chance. Look at me.
Where do they go? How do they get into it?
That's the hardest part, right? It's hard to get into being an instructor, even though I just talked about how it wasn't. I got lucky.
You had zero experience. You
Got
were
lucky.
an instructor.
I got lucky. I think coming to work for places and looking at doing, for the first year of teaching, I did it for free. I didn't make a dime, and I would just literally volunteer to teach or help other instructors teach, no matter what it was. I remember I went to a Vermeer seminar years ago, and I was like, hey, can I just help? And the guy was like, you can like hold the saw. And I'm like, great, wonderful, right? And I remember like just standing up there like,
exactly what I want.
Here's the chainsaw. And not saying a word. And you have to pay your dues, and you have to take the opportunity to get in front of people.
Exactly.
And just do it.
You got to want it.
And you got to work hard at it. It's work.
Yeah.
It's a hustle. There's no doubt about it. As much, Jared, before COVID, I know COVID changed everything.
It's just like getting in the industry. I always tell these individuals that come in, there's not a lot of opportunities to get in the industry. You better knock on the right door.
Yeah.
You better need someone that needs you to pull brush, prickers, and poison oak for the next 3 years, and then maybe one day they'll teach you how to climb once Joe quits. You know, he's our climber, but that's what you're going to do forever, and they better need someone to do that. And I mean, that's how you get in the industry.
Absolutely.
You better not, or you have a creepy guy in a van that pulls up and says, "Hey,
I got a 660
you want to make some
over
money,
here.
kid?"
I got a 660 with 32-inch bar. No, you're 100% right. And you know what? To quote the wonderful badass Navy SEALs, you got to embrace the suck. Because some days doing tree work just sucks.
Suck. That
right.
is,
So go back a second. What did you say before Phil interrupted you there?
No, you're fine. I'm used to it. It's okay.
No, it was a joke.
yeah.
You
Oh,
were
look,
saying-
they're laughing online. Oh my gosh, there's so many hearts and laughters. That was a terrible joke.
You said it was right before he.
I don't remember.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Man.
Finish it.
He doesn't remember.
No, I just want to make. I thought I heard something, but I just wanted you to reiterate, but I can't remember what it was. That's why I asked.
Anyway,
thanks for interrupting our conversation.
and now I don't know what we're talking about because I have ADD and I don't remember. Thanks, Jared.
Oh man. No, we were talking about getting in the industry
and how to be a trainer.
Yeah, because it isn't easy, and you were saying, you
sacrifice.
Just got
that's what it was.
Sacrifice.
The conversation we had.
You just
We'll interrupt that.
You
I'll
interrupt.
interrupt you on that one. because-
sacrifice. Okay, go.
No, what we talked about in the back earlier when we were throw lining, right? You know, the sacrifice is real. It's real in this industry, and it's real in anything, to be honest. And I get this all the time. You know, a lot of people want to come. Oh, I want to be a trainer, man. I want to follow you. I want to do this. I want to be like you. I want sponsorships. I want to do this. I'm like, do you really?
Yeah.
Do you really want to do this? It takes more than what people think.
Yeah. It's not easy.
People don't come after you and offer you sponsorships and money and all this glamour and fame. They don't. Nobody offers that. No. You sacrifice your life for these for these things. And I thought that was really cool having that conversation with you. And for somebody like you saying, agreeing, man, it's you give up so much of your life and your personal time and your hobbies and the things you love.
Well, and family things, like you miss family stuff.
Oh, you miss everything, right? Yeah. But you do it for this industry. You do it because you love it. You do it because we're out there to build a better industry and help our brothers out there. And, I thought that was like, man, it got me.
Well, it's a reminder of why we do it, right? It's a lot of people think that we get on stage because we just like hearing ourselves talk. We like being the center of attention, and that might be true for some. No names. But a lot of it is, it's not about that. It's about if I get the opportunity and the platform that I can save one person, it's worth it. If I can say something that connects with the young 17-year-old Travis Vickerson out there that's doing work with the shady guy in the pickup truck, right? Mm-hmm. That prevents him from dying, then it's worth it, right? Or prevents, a loss like Brad Roberts when he died, or any of the other 100+ that die every year. It's worth it.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about.
Yeah, 100%. And then you went back, and here's a good one. This is quotes from Travis earlier today.
Remember,
he says,
PG.
I know. He says, he said, "Hey man, do you ever think, you think about when you started this, when you first started tree care, and you first got into industry, and you look where you're at today. Would you ever imagine you would be where you're at? Would you ever imagine?" I'm like, dude, not even close. I don't, and I don't even consider myself to be there yet. But for you to say that, I'm like, man, how many people are either at that point or thinking in their career, man, I'm so grateful. Like, dude, I should not have been here. I made it.
Yeah,
you know,
but you didn't make it. You haven't made it, right? None of us have made it. Right?
For some of us think like that, right?
Absolutely, that's the problem.
You know, but some of us like
they're
just lucky to be alive. They made it. 20 years in this industry, you're lucky to be alive.
But here's the problem I have with that in an educational standpoint, right? We have so many in this industry I see when we teach stuff that are like, oh, I've done it this way my whole life. Let's use one-handing a chainsaw as a perfect example, right? I have people that tell me all the time, well, I've never cut myself yet, right? Yeah, you've survived this long. Doesn't make it correct. Doesn't make it complete. You're not finished, right? Life is an evolution. Mm-hmm. Your entire life, the only thing that's constant is change. But we have so many in this industry that refuse to change. They refuse to take classes, go learn, read whatever you can read, come to the academy, do whatever it is like out there to actually evolve. And people just go, well, I've made it. I've survived. Therefore, it's successful. No, it's not. That's not success. Mm-hmm. If it's success, then you'd be done, but you're not done. Success happens when you're finished with something. Mm-hmm. And you never should be finished. And one of the things that always stuck out with me, my dad told me years ago when I was really kind of thinking tree care is what I wanted to do. He was like, that moment when you're making that back cut and that top's going over, what do you feel? What do you think about? And I was like, for me, my heart stops every time. No matter, I don't care how many times I've done it. You make that face notch, you spin around the backside, you make that cut. There's a half a second in there where you go, please go right. Even though you know you've done it all right, you still have that half a second where you're like, if this goes wrong, it's over, right? It's the end of the day. And when you lose that fear or that reality check, that's when you need to get out of the industry, right? Mm-hmm. But we have so many people in this industry that aren't doing that. They just come in and punch the clock and go home. They treat this like it's anything else. The fact of the matter is our industry is not dangerous. Our industry is not hazardous. Our industry actually is not even risky. Our industry has some factors that if you don't control correctly will turn into hazards, will turn into risks, and will turn into dangers and kill you.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything else, right? It's not like if you and I were professional bass fishermen in our life that we would love to be, which we're not, all right?
Or never will.
We think we were. I mean, I got the stickers on my boat that make me look like I am.
Are we going bass fishing?
You're that guy.
No, we're going snowboarding because Jared didn't tell me bass fishing was an option.
Well, fish aren't biting right now.
What do you mean they're not biting? I just showed him pictures of like 32 pounds.
Jared, he broke
showing pros out on a lake where they fish.
We are friends with pros. They will go with us.
Yeah.
So yes, we are not fishing, even though we could be fishing, which breaks my heart.
We could.
No, we're gonna go.
The best bass fishing lake in the country.
And then when you come back, we're gonna rip up some snow while we're here. We'll go snowboarding, and then when you return, we're gonna go hit some really good fishing. Oh my God.
I'm looking forward.
Really good.
So I can't wait.
In March, 2 weeks, we rented a big house. We're having vendors, clients, friends for 2 weeks of bass fishing up there. So you got to come back.
You got to give me some dates. March is pretty well booked, but I'll see what I can do.
You can make it.
But yeah, so it's just this opportunity that we have in the industry to really start changing. I want to kind of get back on the topic, but get back on this point of safety is an outcome. Right?
Yeah.
It's not an objective, but we hear it so many times. Work safe.
Yeah, safety first.
When is the not work safe day? If work safe is the objective
you
of the day.
guys got to tell me that. Like, we know that. It's like put your pants on today.
Hey,
this is put your pants on day.
Work safe.
Yeah, it's like, why do we do that? And I hear it all the time.
Is this the day I wear my pants or no? Oh, take my pants off.
Hey, I had a guy years ago that this is funny. Every day, this guy come up, Jared, to put the cones out. I'm like, yes, put the cones out. And that was when he first started. And then next day, Jared, put the cones out. Yes, put the cones out. Right? You
Every
do that
day.
for a week. I'm like, put the fucking cones out. Every day the cones go out.
I'm not. Here's the day the no cones don't go out.
I don't understand it.
Oh man!
When you're at home on the weekend.
Was that Christian? Was it?
No.
Oh.
But you know what though? It's the truth, right?
Yeah.
But I can't blame
true.
him because the guy had a great heart. He's just like, I just want to. I want to make sure. Like, I want to make sure. I got to make sure I put the cones out. Like, if I put the cones out, do I put the cones out?
Put the cones out.
There is not a single day that goes on where we do not put the cones out.
Why do people struggle with that? I have a theory.
It's a leadership thing. It's a leadership. It's direct.
one of
It's a
it.
direction thing.
It's a culture thing.
Lack of leadership, which I did not provide a clear. leadership path for him. So I failed. I realized this. But it was part of my frustrations along the way. This was many years ago. So I'm still learning, but that was my fault, if obviously.
But you said it earlier today when we were out there in the back 40, we'll call it. All right. The younger generation, especially today, you and I mean, clearly this guy learned while doing, right? I wasn't like, all right, so tell me how the spike works. No, but this younger generation, when we're teaching it, we have to explain the why on everything before we do it. Mm-hmm. The old generation didn't have that. And what we see in this industry with the cone thing, right? Mm-hmm. We probably never took time to explain the why. Why do we put cones out? Let's just put cones out. We do it every day. Yeah. Well, why? It's like wheel chocks, right? And I've got issues with this one, right? But wheel chocks and park trucks on yards, right? Why do we do it? Well, the truck's not, especially if it's an air brake truck, right? Air brakes bleed out on a new truck. They're going to lock. They're not going anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. We know that. Mm-hmm. But we do it to create muscle memory. So when I tell guys, like, hey, they're like, why do we put wheel chucks out in the yard or in the shop? It's not going anywhere. Because if you do it here, you'll do it there.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it here, there'll be an opportunity for you not to do it there.
Yeah.
And it's creating muscle memory, but we have to start explaining the why. We got to get away from robots, right? Mm-hmm. We got to get to complex thinking. And that's part of what the issue with not issue with the industry, but the issue with the perception of our industry is that we're just a bunch of roughnecks that couldn't, do anything else, so we became tree workers. Mm-hmm. That's not true. Tree work is part science, it's part art, it's physics and motion, it's engineering, it's split-second decision making, complex problem solving, all these things. But we downplay it as it's just tree work.
No,
to take for you guys out here, a 200-foot tree down in a 40 by 40 backyard is not luck, right? that you didn't get lucky. Like you know what you're doing. But we stop teaching that. We stop elevating our own industry to be better than it is, right? We talk about, we're going to be better, but why? Like we don't talk about the why behind it, right? We're just a bunch of tree guys.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to change this mentality, this ideology even about really saying, hey, we're more than that. We're not just tree bums. I mean, there's some tree bums out there. I mean, Ryan Torscolo. But I really hope Ryan's listening.
I hope he is,
I really hope he's listening.
Oh, praise Jesus.
Ryan, please get on the phone. Get on here.
That's when I asked you. You must not listen to his episode because when you were saying you put an ad out in the paper for like Craigslist, I'm like, for $200?
Oh, I know Ryan's story. Ryan and I are good friends. I know his story. He has an amazing story.
You give him $200, he'll do anything.
Oh, you can give less than that. Right now, if you just entice him with tuna fishing, he's in, right? So, but yeah, no, if anybody hasn't heard Ryan's story, Ryan Torscolo, he's one of the trainers for Save a Tree. He's like the lead trainer for Save a Tree.
Yeah.
Please go listen to his podcast.
Yeah.
He's got an amazing story about how he got to where he's at. And another guy, like myself, like Jared even, well, maybe not Jared, like Phil, that...
You don't know my story. You don't know me.
We didn't just pop into this, right? It was earned.
Yeah, most people don't know my story. I'm undercover.
We heard your story on the first podcast. It was supposed to be just talking about us, and he just took over and just ran about himself.
Him?
Yeah, it was. It was our first podcast we came out with.
That shit went live?
You didn't even listen to our first podcast.
I don't listen to any of them. I was here.
Bob, cut his mic off. Bob, cut his mic, please.
Why rewatch it? I lived it.
I lived it.
Oh, my gosh.
So anyway.
Anyways, there I was.
So that's my story. That's how I got to where I'm at. Where I'm going next, I don't know.
What's the future of our industry?
That's great and scary in the same breath.
Yeah.
Right? Hard work is a key foundation of our industry, right? But we also understand that we've got to work smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. And we've got to start thinking more mechanized. We got to start thinking more, for instance, great example, right? All these kids nowadays, right? Everybody's plugged in their phones. They're all plugged into computers. And I mean, I'm a huge, one of the things you don't know about me, here's my hidden secret. I love video games.
Oh, that's not a secret. I can just tell.
No, you don't know. Okay. So I've got a squad of guys, right? I got my squad, right? They're firemen, all friends of mine. That, there's Putman, there's Baker, there's Schaefer.
COD.
Warzone, PUBG. Like, my wife even says, I got a problem, right? She's like, you play every night. I'm like, yes. Like, it's just like this. But it's more cathartic because it's not really about that.
That's why you said you loved our chairs.
I do. I love these gaming chairs.
Totally
I'm like, these are awesome. But I love video games, right?
They were the cheapest ones on Amazon.
But it's so, like, for me, it's thinking about this younger generation of video games. I'm like, it's all and eye-hand coordination, right? Well, how can we start incorporating that in our industry? Well, mechanized equipment, robotic equipment, remote control equipment, but also how we teach. We're going to have to start developing systems to teach in a format where people can learn. We have to evolve as instructors as well.
So I'm going to interrupt for 2 seconds. I agree in that. What you said. I don't agree in the smarter, not harder. I say that as like a fun thing, but in this industry, there's no getting away from hard work.
No.
And we need to teach hard work. I was built on fucking hard work. And I think it's lost. I think we lost a little bit of that.
Well, it's because everyone wants to get it now, right? They want to get it immediately.
Lottery.
And the more we kind of detour off that, people start to think that our industry or our trade or our tree climbing should be easy. And it's not easy. No. It is hard fucking work. You were telling me people were out there working in 15 below.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, my guys back in New Hampshire, my crews back in New Hampshire before I moved over to this resource position, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got 36 inches of snow last year, week before Christmas. My guys were out there trudging through it, right? Like, it's just, that's the work. It's hard.
We can never get rid of that. We can add all the mechanical and all the cranes and Cinnabogans and whatever in the world, but there's nothing like an amazing, hard-working human being.
No, there isn't.
And we need to bring that back.
And you know what, though?
We need to bring that back.
One of the things I talked about with one of my guys a while back was they're like, how do I make more money? I'm like, well, how do you earn more money is what you meant to say. Because you ain't making it, right?
Yeah.
You got to earn it. Well, you need to show value. And so I saw a post pop up here a minute ago. It said, big grapple saw cranes. Folks, grapple saw trucks are not the answer to our industry. Let me go ahead and put that out there, all right? I'm going to be controversial for a second, all right? That isn't the solution. A good crane operator and a good climber can rip apart a tree 10 times faster than any grapple saw truck can. It's just a fact, right? If you have a crew that knows what they're doing and is hardworking, you can rip apart things. Yeah, does it create some solutions to problems? Absolutely. EAB trees, 100%. You got an EAB tree that's in its 3rd or 4th year, of infestation. It's got the same consistency as a styrofoam cup. A 5-inch branch will break at the same pressure as a 2-inch branch. You can't climb that.
Right.
Grapple saw, perfect example.
Yeah.
But all these guys and girls out there, they're buying grapple saw trucks thinking that's the answer to their employment issues. It's not. It's creating more problems, right? It's
not
a tool.
It's not an answer. It's a it's another tool.
But you got to have hard work.
Yeah.
So you want to earn more money, you got to have hard work.
Right.
And how do you teach it hard work?
Right. Well, these are work ethics. These are leadership skills. Yeah. We're building human beings. How do we build human beings? To be better at what we do. That's nobody's teaching and training that. Well, people are.
Yeah,
but
I disagree.
People are, but it needs to be a major focus.
So
major focus.
What entity teaches how to build better human beings?
What entity? Say
Will you
again?
tell
What
me?
entity teaches people how to become better human beings, if you will?
Navy SEAL.
Any military, right?
Yeah.
Military basic training is that. It's breaking down foundational concepts inside a human and rebuilding it to what they want.
Yeah.
Welcome to the academy, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the academy.
Like, you think about it, that's what we need to get to, where we have like classes where people go through where they have no knowledge.
Yeah.
They come out with all this information, this work ethic, understanding.
So
hey,
we
you
are
want something?
we are in the process of that.
Yeah.
But this is a very sensitive, big subject.
It is.
And there's a lot of people out there doing it.
I mean, our first academy we had, we broke some guys. There was a couple guys that broke.
Yeah.
When you say
And it
broke,
Crying.
physically,
Mentally.
mentally, it was
They couldn't make
6
it.
in the morning,
It ain't for
5:30, 6 in the morning. We were waking them up, and we didn't go to bed till 10 o'clock at night. Every single day. And it wasn't for like
sounds like
a
storm
month.
crew work.
It was for 4 days.
Yeah.
And we had guys bow out. We had guys at the end of the class come up and go, this changed my life. Cried. 6 guys. We had literally cry and shed tears out of 25 guys there because they were so
I've been
thankful.
doing this for 20 or 30 years.
Nobody's giving me this. And it wasn't day 1. It needed day 2, day 3. And that's something we've learned in, the few years was
break 'em.
it wasn't just one day. It was like when somebody comes at the academy, they need a 2 to 3 to 4 day experience, because after that, you start reaching the soul. You start reaching the person. The first day they come in and out and they have such a hard shell on them, they don't break down. But after the third day, you finally broke them down. You've talked to them. You opened them up. And now you're able to really teach them and get to them.
Well, stress and fatigue does that, right?
Yeah.
It's just, that's human nature. Right?
And
You
also
break it down.
Also sleeping on a cot at, 28 degrees at night
Okay,
will
that ain't
also
that
break
big a
you
deal.
down.
Like, come on. Who hasn't done that, right?
Hey, where's he sleeping tonight?
28 degrees.
Iron skirt.
Okay. Okay.
But no, I think that's what's really great about what you guys are doing out here is this conceptual idea that you guys have now brought into fruition of let's go back to the basics. Let's teach the basics, and let's teach it in a, I'm not going to call a high stress environment, but a fatigued stress environment where you're forced to rely on muscle memory to make positive decisions.
Well, that's one segment, right? Yeah. This is not a full-time course. It's not like you come here and you live in that world. The biggest difference is we teach in a controlled environment, and that's 100% what it is. We have a lot of simulation ways that we can teach and train, and I think that's the biggest difference. We can spend a lot of good one-on-one time and get people really good really quick.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's going with Jared's of 25 years of training and teaching and learning, and to be able to develop all that experience and put it in a class. People come in here and they go through one class, and it's incredible from where they come in at and where they leave at.
Yeah.
And that was 25 years plus other years that have been invested of other individuals into Jared to be able to learn of going, this is how I learned. This is how I can understand and pick up within 8 hours. And in 8 hours, an individual walks out. And what the Straw Brothers said when they sent their company from Colorado, he goes, it was equivalent. It felt like they've been working for 4 years in this industry. After 1 week, 4 years, they were coming out now running their own crews. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, for anything, but that's what he felt like. That was his experience of what he got from there. So education is so important. And what you've given back to the industry and just your leadership book. I mean, you got 2 comments on there and you've sold 5 books, but guess what? 5 people have read it, they've learned from it, and they've made comments on that. You've affected more people with your book than I've affected with my book. And I don't have a book. So
we can change that.
Hats off to you on that, man.
Well, thank you. I'll donate some books because I bought like a lot of them. So I'll donate some books to the Academy.
Dude, please.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah. Did you bring any with you? We can pass out tomorrow.
I didn't. I've hidden them away because I was.
Did you bury them with a treasure map?
I did not bury them with a treasure map. But what I will give you though today is I'll give you a sneak peek of this new idea I'm working on. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what I want. Okay.
Wait a minute.
I wanted some gold.
Who else have you told about
gold.
this? Or we?
There's a few.
Oh, there's a few.
Yeah, his wife and kids.
No. They don't listen to me anymore about tree stuff.
He's like,
they don't listen.
There's like 100 people, but you guys.
We drive down the road and I look at trees and they're just like, oh, whatever.
They're playing video games in the back.
Right. But no. So seriously. So this concept, and you guys are already doing it, right? And you guys, but you don't. Maybe you realize it. Maybe you don't realize it, right? What you're teaching is a foundational process to containing some of these things, right? So I'm gonna get this dry erase board out. I got hidden down here, right?
Okay.
All right. So, first of all, I want to talk about what our industry is not hazardous or dangerous, okay?
Okay.
We have some risks.
You got that camera, you got to show it too.
I got it.
Okay.
I use this pin
I'm
here.
so excited for this.
Oh, man.
Have you guys ever seen the crazy hot chart? He's going to do this with tree care.
All right. So, I'm going to back up here so people can see this. All right. Hopefully, everybody can see here.
Okay.
Instagram over here.
Factors.
Factors are everything that goes into our day of work. Everything. This can be from your ride in the morning, the weather. This could be the fight you had with your significant other the night before that's affecting your day. This could be traffic. This could be the gnarly removal that's 6 inches off a 26 kV primary, right? This is all of those things, okay, are factors, all right? So what we have is factors that turn into risks, okay? A risk is a factor that's uncontrolled, all right? When you expose a risk to property, it becomes a hazard. When you expose a risk to a person, it becomes a danger. So our industry is not dangerous. We have factors that, if they're not controlled, become dangerous. All right? So how do we control those factors? And here's the goal, okay? We're going to build 4 walls, okay? The 4 walls is kind of homage, if you will, to...
What's homage?
Homage, pay homage, homage, right? To code it, right? Code it, right?
No more
Compartmentalization of decay in trees.
No more locked doors.
All right. Dr. Alex Shigo is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time in tree care. He has done more for the tree care industry than anybody else, hands down.
You're also the GOAT.
No, I'm not the GOAT.
You
He is
actually
the GOAT.
referred yourself
as Dr. Shigo.
Yeah.
You did.
Stop.
You guys heard
That
it
is
here.
not true. They have goats
Travis,
outside. I
Dr.
saw them.
Shigo.
I heard it.
It's Travis and
You don't realize, like, my mentor Tim Walsh is going to kill me for if you make that comparison.
You did.
I
you
didn't
did.
mean to.
You
It was
did.
okay.
No, you
Focus.
winked.
Focus.
Listen, it's
So
on the
do
camera.
you-
You
do
winked at
you-
me. You winked at me.
do
You knew
you-
exactly what you said.
Can you confirm that you say you are not the GOAT?
I can confirm I am not the GOAT.
Perfect. Okay, we can move on.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have our factors, right? And our 4 walls. All right. So our very first wall of containing the factors, all right, is knowledge. Okay. Make sure I spell that right, because that'd be embarrassing. All right. So knowledge.
Is that south?
Yeah, nothing's ever
Oh, okay, so
embarrassing
you
on
meant
this show.
north, so it's not biased.
Okay.
It's north. Knowledge. Okay.
Knowledge.
Is not only theories. It's not, how you do things. It's not the knowledge of that. It's also the experience. Because every experience provides knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because you did it one way doesn't mean you can do it always that same way, right? You have to have knowledge to know when to use the tool and when not to. So that's the very first thing we teach is knowledge. It's the theories. It's, why do we tie this knot versus that knot? It's this kind of hinge wood versus that kind of hinge wood, all right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all the books I've read. It's knowledge. It's not skill. Skill is the next thing we teach, okay? Skill is the application of knowledge, right, with experience. So knowledge is knowing the things and experience out there of knowing when to use it. Skill is how you apply those things, right? That's when I use my pruning spikes versus my removal spikes. Just kidding. There are no pruning spikes, folks. There are no pruning spikes. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing, all right? But it's knowing those things. It's knowing the tie-in point you choose.
Yeah.
It's knowing this kind of tree I can choose, this kind of tie-in point, this kind of tree I can't, right? After that, we go to the next thing, which is equipment, right? Which is one of my favorite things because I'm a gear junkie, right, with everything. And I'm just going to put a quip, okay? This is our equipment, all right? Okay. And equipment not only is all the bells and whistles and all the toys in the Cheryl catalog or the Tree Stuff catalog, right, or Bailey's catalog or whatever, right? Equipment also is knowing the equipment, knowing the applications of the equipment. The little book you get when you buy a brand new rope that you throw away, that's equipment. It's knowing what this rope is used for. It's if it's a Kermantle rope, if it's a construction, 12-strand, 16-strand, 24-strand, when to retire that rope if you've cut fibers, that's equipment. The very, very last wall is PPE. Okay? PPE is the very last one for a reason. PPE is our last resort when the other 3 walls fail. Right? PPE can never be our first resort, right? And I've heard before, I only wear a helmet when I know I'm going to get hit. Well, you probably should buy lottery tickets too, right? PPE is that. It's there when everything else has gone wrong to protect us. Yep. So at any point in time, if any one of these walls fails, our factor gets out. When our factor gets out, it becomes either a risk, a hazard, or a danger, depending on what it's applied to, right? And that's really what you got to get to in this industry is tree work is not safe. Okay? You cannot do tree work safely. Safely actually is not a word. So you either are safe or you're not. You can't be safely, right? You can't drive a vehicle safely, right? You can't do tree work safely. It's not a thing, right?
How did you say that? I'm like,
safely.
Gosh.
Right?
You sound like an idiot. Safely. I'm like,
I am an idiot.
No, I'm just saying like safely.
No, it's the end product. It's a result.
Safely.
It's the outcome.
Safety is a result.
No, the word sounds stupid.
It is stupid.
Now that I say it like 6 times, or I heard you, but
it's stupid. Think of it this way. If we compare tree work to driving a vehicle, right? You drive your truck or your car, your Tesla, or whatever it is Jared drives. I imagine he looks like a Tesla kind of guy.
He actually owns a Tesla. I do too, but I don't drive it every day.
I'm pretty sure you own one too. Right? You're driving a 5,000 piece of metal down the highway at 70 miles an hour next to another.
They're like 3,000 pounds.
okay, your truck, your 250.
Oh, yeah, that's 5,000.
Okay, driving down the highway, next 6 inches away from another idiot driving a 5,000 piece of metal down the highway. Right? What is safe about that? Nothing. You've got knowledge of how to drive. You've got skill of how to drive. You've got the equipment, all the bells and whistles that come on our vehicles, right, that keep us safe. And lastly, you have your PPE, you have your airbags, your seatbelt, and all the things that if everything else fails, helps you not have harm. Mm-hmm. There's no safely driving vehicles. You can drive a vehicle carefully. Yeah, absolutely. You can be careful about how you do something, but you can't be safe about it. We have got to get away from this concept of work safely. No. We're going to work with proper knowledge. We're going to work with proper application of that knowledge and our skill. Mm-hmm. We're going to use the right equipment and understand how that equipment works. And then lastly, we're going to protect it with PPE. And if we do that every single day, day in and day out, our outcome is a safe workday. But it is never an objective. If it's objective, that implies that you can have a day that doesn't have that objective.
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
Yep.
So that's my big freebie.
That was more than a freebie.
That was gold.
Another book right there.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
We're going to push you to write this book. So everybody listening,
can it be a coloring book?
Travis Vickerson is going to write a new book talking about safely. Tree safely.
Written by Safely.
Tree safely.
Safely.
Right?
Safely.
I will only write it if Phil and Jerry read it with me.
Done.
You've just put us on the front cover.
Yes, I have.
Done.
But no, that's really what we got to get to in this industry is really changing that mentality of safely. It doesn't exist. You can't climb safely. What about climbing a tree is safe?
Yeah.
Really, think about it. It's not a rated anchor.
So good.
There's 800 sharp objects around your body and your equipment all day long that can cut your lifeline. We're one of the last industries out there that's allowed to climb with a single anchor point. Nothing safe about that.
Yeah.
At all. But we got to apply the things in the right way. So that's my freebie for everybody.
Dude, I usually
wait a second. Trees and things. Isn't that Ryan?
Yeah, it's Ryan. He's here.
I saw trees and things pop up. I was like, that's
We're going to be going live here, and I'm not live, but having some other people jump on.
Hey, Ryan.
You know how you know?
Ryan, you missed it, but this fool called you a bum.
hey, what I love most is, you know how you can tell you're safe? Because it is.
Because it is.
Like that.
Because it is. Guys, listen.
Inside joke, sorry.
Listen, this show, this has been good, man. I haven't really talked that much on this. I've just been listening.
Gary told you weren't going to have to.
Oh, my gosh. I know. I mean, I left for 30 minutes, and I just got back. That's why.
So anyway, shameless plug. If you want more information about this stuff, if you want to talk safety, if not safely, if you want to talk safety, feel free to reach out to me. You can hit me up on email, travis.vickerson@davey.com. Gladly reach out to me. If you need anything you need from your company or utility standpoint from vendors, please reach out to me. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to see what we can do to help you out to have the outcome of safety.
And if not, you guys, we're a source for you. So hit us up. Come through the academy. Come through Two Tree Guys. We're a resource for all of our people, all of our vendors, all of our listeners, and we are for the people. We are for the industry. And
Ryan said those are fighting words, by the way. Me calling him a bum. Yet
we're
didn't he come to?
We're for everybody but bums. So
with one pair of clothes. I love you, Ryan. I love you, buddy. I love you.
We're gonna have him jump on here. But Travis, listen, man, it's been great. Glad you came on the show.
Wow, I got tongue-tied.
I know. It's my first beer in a while. No, glad you came on the show, man.
It's been awesome to be here.
Glad you're here in California, and I wish we were going fishing on Saturday.
Why do you keep reminding me?
But we're not.
This bum over here did not leave that as an option.
Bum.
Yeah. I didn't give you the option.
Instead, we're going to go hit the
I want to tear your ass up on the board.
You're not going to tear my ass up because I'm just going to sit back and watch you be a fool. All right? I know my limitations.
Let me tell you, don't fucking hurt yourself.
Exactly, right?
No, I'm serious.
Hey.
Don't hurt yourself.
You're not as young as you used to be, buddy.
Oh, my gosh. If you come back hurt, I'm going to be so mad at you.
I'm staring down the barrel of 37 this year, and I'm like, I can't do the things I used to do at 27, so I just ride nice and easy.
So at 42.
Yeah, exactly. You break now, buddy. You don't bounce.
I got this.
No, we're going to have a great time, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's great to be out here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everybody who's been on here. Please, if you know people that need to see this show, please get the word out there to them.
Share it.
Start subscribing. hear this out, spread this message. Feel free to take what I gave you as far as factors, equipment, skill, and knowledge and use it. It's not proprietary by any means. It's just some crap I came up with. Use it. Use it on your next tailgate day, right?
And guys, I'm not even going to end the show. That was it. So peace
well, I was
out.
looking at time, and nobody's going to listen after like 3 hours.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you
Till next time. We got. You started talking again to interrupt me, so I stopped. Go ahead. Finish it.
I don't want people to leave.
Nobody's going to leave. Don't leave. Stay on.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
We're done. Peace.